Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where today I'm bringing you my easy beginner's guide to eye makeup.
A scout is a guy that thinks he's fine, also known as a bust down. Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So no, I don't want your number, no. I don't wanna give you mine, and no, I don't wanna meet you nowhere, no. Don't want none of your time, and no, I don't.
So today guys, we're taking it all the way back to eyeshadow basics. So if you're someone who's always struggled with your eye makeup, then you're absolutely gonna love this tutorial. I'm gonna break it down into some really simple steps. I'm gonna teach you guys exactly what brushes you should be using and also where to put what eyeshadow color. And I have no doubt that by the end of this tutorial, you guys will be able to create your very own smoky eye. So today guys, I am in my dressing gown because it is just super cold outside, and to be honest, I just wanted to be cozy. So this is what we're going for today. So I've already got my base on as well as my highlight, contour and blush, and I will be popping this video onto my Instagram. So everything I've actually used on my face today are all drugstore brands. So if you guys are interested in seeing more of that, then do head over to my Insta because that's where I usually pop like more of my skin and my base videos. I have also primed my eyelids already, and I've used my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer to do this. Now guys, eyeshadow primer is an absolute must, especially, and I say this in the nicest way possible, if you want your eye makeup to look half decent. Eyeshadow primer is basically what gives your eyes that lovely base for your eyeshadows to stick onto and make sure everything goes on a lot smoother, blends a lot better. If you get oily eyelids, primer is what's going to stop that from happening and ruining your eye makeup, because the last thing you want is you spend all that time creating a lovely smoky eye and then halfway through the night it's coming off. You want your eye makeup to last as long as possible. So if you guys are looking at beautiful eye makeup like online or even on someone else, guys, the holy grail is eyeshadow primer. Now like I said, I'm using the Urban Decay one. You don't have to be using this one. You know, pretty much a lot of eyeshadow primers out there do a really good job. My favourite's been Urban Decay for a while now, simply because it works for the texture of my eyelids, and also there's not a lot of colour to it, because I like to pop a little bit of concealer on my eyes first to get rid of any discoloration on my eyelids, because my eyelids can be a little bit darker than the rest of my skin tone, and then I pop this on top. Now the key with eyeshadow primer guys is using a really thin layer. Now starting off on your eyelid always works best because that's where you want the most product or the most primer. So you can just use your finger and pat that, starting from there, going all the way up to your brow bone. Now keep in mind, I did say pat the eyeshadow primer on. I see a lot of people rubbing eyeshadow primer almost like it's cream, and the problem with that is it will just break down the product. So to get it nice and smooth, just use like a patting action or like a pressing action, and you'll find that the application goes on so much better. But for today guys, we're going to be using this cute little NYX Ultimate Edit palette. So it's got some really like basic colours in there, so I thought it'd be really good to do like a, you know, basic eyeshadow tutorial just using a really simple and easy palette. Now this is important because if you've heard YouTubers before, you know, say words like crease colour or transition colour or your eyelid colour, and if you're a real beginner and that really confuses you, then don't worry. It's just knowing exactly what certain areas of our eyes are called, and then you know exactly where to put your eyeshadow colours. So let's start off with what we call our crease. Now our crease is basically this little bit that goes inside. So if you can see that line just here, that's the little area where it goes right inside and forms almost a little bit of a line. Now some people, when they put an eyeshadow in their crease, they either call it a crease colour or you can also call it a transition colour. So don't get confused between the two terms, because it is a very similar area that they're talking about, but it just means that little bit that goes right inside there. Now your eyelid is the bit that actually moves, so it's the actual lid part. So it's very different to your crease. So you need to know that, because then you're not mixing the two colours together and you're knowing exactly where they go. So let's start off with our crease colour. Now for our crease colour, it tends to be like quite a neutral shade. So, you know, it sort of depends also on your skin tone, guys. So how I would kind of judge it is go for something that is a couple of shades darker than your natural skin tone. I'm going to go ahead and use this kind of like brownie shade just here. Now it has to be matte because you want to create like a nice soft shadow in the crease. So I'm going to use my big fluffy blending brush to do this. So what I'm doing is using the tip of this fluffy blending brush, starting from the outside corner always, guys, because that's where you want the colour to be the darkest, and then you want it to sort of fade in lighter as you go inside. And what you're going to do is start from the outside corner, push that tip of the brush into the crease like so. And don't worry, it's not going to hurt you or anything like that. It looks more like uncomfortable than it is, but basically just pushing into that crease, and all you're going to do is follow that brush all the way through. So I kind of like to call this like my windscreen wiping action, as you can see why. All you want to do is just keep going back and forth with your brush until it's nicely blended in. Now you may need to apply a little bit more pressure, so if you do, just push that brush further into the crease and then just follow it through. And guys, that is literally it. So you just need to keep going back and forth, and to be honest, your fluffy brush sort of does all the work for you, which is why it's important to use a fluffy blending brush to do this step. Now the reason people think that you need to sort of move your brush up and down is because they see the colour kind of over here, then they see it a little bit lower and they think that's exactly where they need to put their brush, when in reality all it is if you push this into the crease and you just follow it back and forth, the fluffiness of that brush basically will just do the work for you and help to fade that colour upwards. So when you first probably went in with your brush, it probably looked quite patchy, but the more you move this brush back and forth, aka just blend it out, then the smoother that colour is going to get. Now the main thing to notice with this step, guys, is I haven't covered my eyelid area, so you really want to push that brush into that crease area so you don't actually end up kind of, you know, applying all this colour all over, because then when it comes to your eyelid colour, it's not going to stand out as much. Also, everyone's eye shapes are a little bit different, so if you find that your crease is maybe a little bit lower or it's a little bit hidden, then once you've done this step, don't feel afraid to basically take the crease colour a little bit higher. Obviously don't go all the way up because that'll look a little bit weird, but you can take it just a little bit above your natural crease to kind of create like almost like a fake crease. So that's a really good tip for anyone who's got kind of like hooded eyes or like a smaller kind of crease area. Now in my tutorials, guys, I also like to teach how to clean up mistakes because, you know, mistakes happen, even with me, like even as a makeup artist. So do not worry if you've done this step and you found that your crease color just, you know, became like a massive line, or it went too high, or it was just a bit too dark, then you can use a clean fluffy blending brush and you can use the tip of that just to go over any kind of like harsh edges or lines, you know, just to kind of smooth them out, and that really helps to sort of just even out what you've done. So once you've done that, guys, it's time for our eyelid colour. Now on your eyelid colour, you can pretty much use any shimmery colour you like. So I'm going to go in with this lovely bronzy gold here because I want to go for more of like a bronze smoky eye, but literally you could go for any sort of shimmery colour in your palette. Now like I said earlier, your eyelid is literally your lid. So this bit here that actually kind of moves, and once you've done your crease colour, you'll notice that there's a bit of a gap on your eyelid. So it will give you almost like that little space to fill in. What's also important, guys, is for your eyelid colour, you need a flat brush. Anything fluffy will blend and anything flat will apply colour. So if you want to make a quick note of that, it'd be a good idea. But basically anything fluffy blends and anything flat applies colour. So especially for your shimmery colours, you know, you really want them to stand out, so a flat brush is a good idea to use. Take your flat brush and press this colour onto your eyelid. So what you don't do is just basically that, because as you're waving it about, the colour's not really getting applied properly. So it's almost a bit more of like a pressing action. And also you're not just using the tip of the flat brush, you're using the whole flat side of the brush to really press that colour onto the lid. You know, I like to just build it up layer by layer, and that's the key thing. So if you try to take eyeshadow in one go, like in one whole load, and try to whack that on, what would happen is you'd get a lot of fallout, and fallout is when all your eyeshadow kind of falls onto your cheek and the rest of your face, and you're like, oh no, now I've got to clean this up. So with eyeshadow, you really have to build it up layer by layer. So once you've done that, you're ready for your final colour. Well, I say final because there's a couple of other things I'm going to add, but for now, your final colour, and that is your darker corner colour. So that's the kind of bit that makes it nice and smoky on the ends and creates that sort of like light to dark kind of finish on the eyes. So I'm going to go for the darkest brown there. Now usually for this corner colour, I also pick a matte colour. Remember what I said earlier, anything fluffy blends, so we are blending this colour, which means we've got to use a fluffy brush. But if you look at the two different sizes of the brushes that I've got, so this was the first fluffy brush that I used for my crease, and this one here, as you can see, is a little bit almost skinnier, like a skinnier version of that. So the reason why we need to use like a smaller fluffy brush for the corners of our eyes is because, can you imagine if we use this big fluffy one just here to do the corners, the eyeshadow would go everywhere, and often when people say to me, I tried to do a smoky eye and it looked like I punched myself in the face. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Don't worry, guys. It's just basically using the right sized brush. So I'm going to go in with like a almost smaller or skinnier version of that to blend that in. Where you're applying this is almost that kind of first third of the eye. So if you like fractions, guys, you'll like this part. So think that's the first kind of outer third of your eye. You've got the second third, which is the middle, and then this is your inner third. So 1, 2, 3. So the difference is you're not applying it way out here. And that's what a lot of people do, because when you see like a finished product or you see like a finished eye makeup look, you see that the colour's blended out to about here. So that's where people think that's where you've got to apply the colour. When actually, if you start here, by the time you blend it, it will reach out to about there. But if you start by applying it here, you can imagine by the time you blend that colour, it's going to go all the way out there. And that's where things just go wrong. Starting from there, you can start to then work your brush into a bit like a C shape. Now, this is not the same as when we did the crease colour, because with the crease colour, we did that back and forth all the way in and out. With this, you're being a little bit smaller with your movement and a little bit more specific. So do take your time. Do make sure you're going all the way down to your lashes as well. So you're filling in that whole little corner area. And once you've got that movement in place, then it's up to you as to how much darker you want to go with this. So if you want to go for a really intense smoky eye, then build this colour up as to how dark you want it to be. If you want it a little bit softer, then, you know, you can kind of adapt it to the kind of look you want to go for. Now guys, the first time you do this, a little bit of a warning, you may find that, you know, your corner colour looks a bit like a splodge, or it's created a really harsh line, so you might feel like you've got a little bit of a triangle going on rather than like a soft blend. So all you're going to do is remember that first brush you used for your crease colour. You're going to take the tip of that brush, and anywhere where you see like a harsh line or anything you want to smooth out, you can just go over that line. Now the difference with this is you don't want to take your brush and literally go over the whole thing, because it will just mix all the colours that you've done and you work so hard to do, and it's going to mix them all together. For any of my girls out there who have got, you know, maybe like hooded eyelids, or, you know, the crease kind of folds over a little bit slightly, then what you can do is take that corner colour also a little bit higher as well. So almost like lifting everything up a little bit. And for those of you who are beginners, then what you can do is do your eye makeup first, because the idea is if you do your eye makeup first and you make a mistake, then you can take a little cotton bud like this, or even like a cotton pad, dip it in some eye makeup remover and literally just use it to wipe all of the eyeshadow that's dragging your eyes down. So if you take that angle from the corner of your eye just there all the way to the end of your brow, that's the kind of angle you want to just wipe all the way from. So do your eyes first, and then you can always do your base later, and you can use these handy little cotton buds just to wipe away any little mistakes. So guys, that is your basic, almost 3-step smoky eye. So, you know, we had our crease color, we did our eyelid color, and then we did our darker corner color. Now, obviously, when you see, you know, really kind of advanced eye makeup looks, the interesting thing is they all kind of start off in a very similar way. And then what you can do to advance it a little bit is you can add like a second eyelid color, you can add a second darker color, you can add 2 crease colors if you wanted to. And that's how you start to advance your eye makeup looks. So in my other tutorials, that's how I kind of advance my eye makeup on there. So if you do want to learn more about that, do check out my other eye makeup tutorials, because that's where I kind of create a little bit more of an advanced look. But for now, well done for getting this far, especially if you are, you know, really basic at your eyeshadow, then at least you know how to do a nice basic smoky eye. But I am going to glam this up a little bit more, and especially if you've already made it this far, then I've got complete faith that you can handle what I'm about to do next. First things first, we're going to add a touch of glam to our eyes. Now, this is one of my favourite things to do when I do eyeshadow, and it's basically adding in something called a highlight into these little inner corners just here, and also underneath your eyebrow bones, that space just here that we have. And this is one I've used today. This is the Sleek Contour Kit. So it comes with a contour colour and a highlighter colour, and that's what I've used here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the same highlighter I've used on my cheeks into my eyes as well. And all you want to do is just go right into those little inner corners, almost like where your tear duct is, and just fill in that little space. I'm also going to add it just underneath my eyebrow bone. I'm also going to add a little bit of eyeliner just to create some definition on my eyes. Now, of course, guys, this is a beginner's kind of makeup tutorial, so I'm not going to go for that whole winged eyeliner look. But we're going to start off with just the basics. So you can either use a pencil. What I'm using today is actually one of these kind of like these Kajal sort of crayons. So this is the Rimmel one, and it's the 24-hour wear. So I like something that's quite long lasting. So you can even use just a black pencil if you've got one. Of course, if you're used to wearing liquid eyeliner or gel, or you even want to add on a wing, then by all means, please go ahead and do that. I'm just going to keep it basic and pop a little bit of this on my eyelash line. So what you want to do is just run the side of that pencil or whatever you're using along the top of your eyelashes. And the easiest way to do this, guys, is by looking down into a mirror, so kind of like what I'm doing. I do actually have a step-by-step winged eyeliner and how to apply false eyelashes tutorial up on my channel already, so if you do want to check that out, please do. I break it down into kind of like 3 easy steps on how to do like that perfect winged eyeliner and just some really good tips and tricks on how to apply false lashes too. But as you guys can see, even using something as basic as a black pencil can give you a really nice bit of definition and a really good effect as well. So to make this look a little bit more glam, I have added on some lashes, but by all means guys, you can just stick to mascara to keep it simple. And the last thing we're going to do to finish off the eyes is we're going to create that smokiness underneath the eyes as well. So obviously right now everything's looking quite top heavy, you've got all your eyeshadow on your eyelid, you've got your lashes on, and underneath needs a little bit of smokiness too. So first things first, I'm going to use some pencil in my waterline. So I'm sticking with a dark brown pencil, and that's just to keep it looking quite nice and soft and to kind of go along with the, you know, whole sort of bronzy smoky eye that I've done today. But by all means, you guys can, you know, put black in instead, or if you want, you can just leave it blank. But I like filling in my waterline just to kind of give it, you know, that extra little bit of smokiness. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of that darker brown colour. So do you guys remember that same colour that we used on our little C shape just in the corners? We're going to use that brown shade and we're just going to smudge this underneath. But you could use like a smaller flat brush and just use the tip of that if you wanted to, but anything that's got like a nice little edge will do good for this. So what you want to do is just using the edge of that brush, you're going to go right underneath your lower lashes, wiggle this back and forth to create that smudginess. So guys, our smoky eyes are done, and I've just finished off with a lovely nude brown lip just to complement like my eyeshadow colours. And what I've used today is a lip pencil from MAC, and this is in the shade Spice, and this is like the perfect nude brown lip pencil for like, especially for Asian skin tones. So I love it so much, hence why it's so teeny weeny now, because it's almost finished because it's been sharpened to like the end of its life. And then I've topped up with a liquid kind of, I think it's called soft matte lip cream from NYX, and this is in the shade Abu Dhabi. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if it did help you out with your eye makeup, then please drop me a comment below. I love hearing from you guys, and I'd love to hear how this maybe helped you create your very own smoky eye. And if you've watched this tutorial and you're thinking to yourself, I could really do with like, you know, a proper makeup lesson, then the good news is I do provide private one-to-one makeup lessons in the comfort of your own home. So do get in touch on my contact information below and I can send you some more information. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos just like this every week. And as always guys, stay beautiful, stay you. For highlight and blush, and if you guys want to see, because you know, so I'm going to take my big fluffy what is using a bit of pencil can create a little blah blah blah. Ooh. And what I've used today is Spice lip liner. Don't forget to subscribe so you know you're someone who tried to